Well, here it is July 29th, and we are still in lockdown here. Um, it's supposedly pretty strict in that you're only supposed to be going out for shopping, and that only on designated days at supermarkets anyway. And the beaches are continuing to be closed, and restaurants are closed for takeout and delivery. This is all since July 26th, when a more uh, severe or strict lockdown came into effect. Um, Nha Trang has been probably averaging somewhere in the range of, I would say, 20 to maybe 50 new cases of COVID per day the last week or so. Um, and It is hoped that this will get things under control, but it's taking some time. Even before this more strict lockdown, we've been in a stay-at-home or social distancing situation since July the 9th, I believe it is, and that was extended to be until August 8th, and it's hard to say if that's going to be relaxed on August 8th the way new cases keep appearing here. Um, yeah, Nha Trang has tried to give COVID tests to the entire population of the city, which is 500,000 people, and I haven't seen a big increase in cases since that happened. My apartment building got tested about maybe 10 days ago, and I have heard that there was at least one case in, not in my particular tower, but in one of the apartment buildings in this complex. Um, so, considering how many people live here, that's not a very large number, but still, it's it is a sign that COVID is still showing up around here. But anyway, if they have actually done COVID tests on the entire city by now, it's not overly surprising that we are still getting quite a number of cases every day. Say, I mean, even considering the number of cases we've had, all in all, I believe it's still somewhere in the range of 350 total cases in Nha Trang since this outbreak. So it's not a huge number considering it's a city of 500,000. But on the other hand, they just need to look at their neighboring country of Thailand to see how quickly this new variant of COVID has spread. Thailand is now getting, I believe, 17,000 cases a day. And it wasn't long ago that they were fearing they would reach 10,000 cases a day. So in countries like this, which have very little vaccination rates, very low vaccination rates, it is pretty worrisome to see a lot of new COVID cases. If you watched my previous videos, I mentioned that I had been in a quarantine facility for 3 nights early July. And that was because I was in a restaurant where one of the waitresses had tested positive. And I luckily only had to do 3 days in quarantine But that is one of the problems of being here is that even if things reopen, the restaurants and more stores reopen, if one of the staff in one of these places did come down with COVID, a person could run the risk of possibly being thrown into quarantine. And it's not certain how long they put people in quarantine under those situations. I mentioned that someone who had been in my room at the quarantine facility had only had to spend 7 days in quarantine there after being in the restaurant where the waitress who had tested positive for COVID worked. So I don't know that they're actually making people do the entire 14 days of quarantine if they have come into contact, at least not such direct contact with someone who is COVID positive. But, on the other hand, there are supermarkets that have had staff who've come down with COVID, and they are asking any people who visited there on certain days leading up to the person's diagnosis with COVID to turn themselves in or identify themselves to a local health department. And in my situation, when I did that, that resulted in being put in quarantine. So it does make a person less inclined to want to go shopping somewhere, even if they can, for fear that your luck might run out, and one of the staff's luck might have run out too, and they got COVID. So it's not a real pleasant time to be stuck inside. The weather is great. It's quite hot out, but it would be very nice beach weather. And if it weren't for the stay-at-home orders, I'm sure there would still be crowds of people on the beach down here playing soccer and getting together with friends. So, it does remain to be seen what is going to develop once this current social distancing order ends on August the 7th, or August the 8th, I believe it is. And I unfortunately don't have a lot of faith that that we're going to be looking at 0 new cases of COVID in whatever would be about 10 more days on August 8th. So I think one needs to prepare for the worst, which means that you may need to feel that there's a reasonably good chance that you're still going to be under some kind of a lockdown after the 8th of August.